ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಓಕೆ ರೈಟ್. parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, parenchyma, chlorenchyma. These are all the types of simple permanent tissue. Then under complex permanent tissue we have xylem. Then we have phloem. Xylem and phloem. Have you heard the words xylem, phloem in school days once upon a time? These are the vascular tissues, pipe-like tissues. We suck juice from the bottle with the help of straw, right? Juice comes through the straw. Likewise, with the help of xylem and phloem, water, minerals, food will travel throughout the plant body. Fine. Xylem helps in the transportation of water and minerals. We put many fertilizers, compost, etc. to the plants, right? The minerals dissolved in water is absorbed by the roots and it will be traveled with the help of xylem, water and minerals. Then food produced with the help of photosynthesis. The food will be traveled through phloem. Let's see. In the tip, apex means tip, apex, tip. Under the meristematic tissue, see, majorly we have discussed the difference between plant cells and animal cells. Plants are stationary. They will not move. Animals, they move and fetch their food, right? That's why majority of the plant tissues are dead tissues. Dead tissues means the tissues will be there. They will help to give the mechanical or structural support. Like the bricks inside this wall is giving structural support, right? Likewise, the tissues will be giving structural support to the plant. Majority of the tissues, dead tissues. And other tissues are living tissues which helps in growth, the lateral growth, apical growth, etc. The tissues related to growth are meristematic tissues. The parts of the plant where growth occurs, in all those parts, meristematic tissues are there. One is apical meristem. Apical meristem is seen in the growing tip of the plant, as well as growing tip of the root. Root tip and stem tip, we have apical meristem. Then in the internodes, the plant will have many branches, right? Branches. You can clearly see in a bamboo plant or tree and in sugarcane, the internodes, right? Internodes, sugarcane and bamboo. In the internodes where the new leaves or branches grow, here we have intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem. Then for the lateral growth, means the plant in the garden, it might be on 10 centimeter in diameter, 10 centimeter. After a few years, the diameter will be increased, right? The growth, lateral growth. The tissue which helps in lateral growth is lateral meristem. Girth of the plant will be increased. Girth is increased, lateral meristem. In the tip of stem and the root, we have apical meristem. In the internodes, we have intercalary meristem. For the lateral growth, lateral meristem. That's it, lateral meristem. And one more important thing, in many While preparing for UPSC CSA examinations, you can still attend many other competitive examinations of that level. Group B, Group A, post in state and central government, right? There are many factual questions will be asked. One of the important questions which being asked from this topic is a rapid elongation of bamboo stem is due to, they have asked in many examinations. A rapid elongation of bamboo stem is due to, that means the sugar cane near your home is like this. After some time, it grows. The distance between the internodes increases, right? This distance increases, right? The elongation of bamboo, sugarcane, or any plant, the increase in length is mainly due to which tissue? Intercalary meristem. The increase in length is due to intercalary meristem. The increase in width is due to, or girth is due to, lateral meristem. Rapid elongation of bamboo stem is due to intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, right? Then we have permanent tissue, under which we have simple permanent tissue, simple permanent tissue, parenchyma, parenchyma. The main function of parenchyma is to give structural support, mechanical support. That's it. It gives mechanical support, and it helps to store food. It helps to store food. Parenchyma, parenchyma. Where in our body the nutrients are stored? In human body. In which form the nutrients are stored? Today is Friday, tomorrow Saturday. Let's assume you are fasting tomorrow and you have continued the fasting day after tomorrow also. Okay, 2 days you are fasting. For the 2 days, from where you will get the energy? You're not having any food. See, energy giving nutrients are carbohydrates and fats. Energy giving nutrient. In the food we have, there are many nutrients like carbohydrate, fat, proteins, vitamins, minerals, right? And water, fiber will also be there. Carbohydrates and fats are called as energy giving nutrients. Had your breakfast? Breakfast, right? You had your breakfast. Once you have your breakfast, the food travels through your alimentary canal, digestive tract. The food is digested. Complex nutrients are divided into simple nutrients, right? The simple nutrient, let's say from the carbohydrate, from the chapati, dosa, rice you had, the carbohydrate is divided into simple sugars like glucose. Blood sugar is glucose, right? Blood sugar is controlled with the help of insulin, the hormone. Insulin. Insulin controls the level of sugar in our blood. If insulin cannot control the sugar level in our blood, the sugar level rises. That condition is called as diabetes. Diabetes mellitus we say diabetes, right? The sugar level in our blood increases. If you are a healthy person, you don't have any diabetes issue, what happens? If the glucose present in your blood is enough for your daily activity, then no issues. If it is more, if the glucose is more, then what happens? The insulin converts glucose present in your blood into glycogen form. The glucose is converted into glycogen form. It is temporarily stored in our liver and muscles. Liver and muscles, it will be stored. At next day or few days, if you require the energy back when you're not having proper food, then the glycogen will be again converted back into glucose form. If you still have excess amount of carbohydrate, means the glycogen levels are full, you still have more amount of glucose, then what happens? Fat, cholesterol. Then the nutrient, the glucose will be converted into triglycerides, fat. It will be stored in our adipose tissue. Fat will be accumulated. That's why if you want to lose weight, what you should do? Calorie deficit diet. Calorie deficit diet. If I need 1,000 calories per day, I should have 600, 700, 800 calories, so that the remaining 300 calories will be burned from the fat stored in my body, right? The temporary storage is in the form of glycogen in liver and muscle. The permanent long-term storage is in the form of fat. Likewise, in the plants, the storage area, the storage will be in the form of parenchyma. Parenchyma, right? One of the storage forms. There are many other forms in plants. Parenchyma. Then we have aerenchyma. Aerenchyma. If you put any normal leaf into the water, what might happen? Based on the direction, if you place it horizontally, it might float. If not, it might sink, right? But the leaves of lotus plant generally float on the surface of water, right? Lotus plants leaves floats on the surface of water. Those kind of plants are called as hydrophytes. Hydro means they live in water. Hydrophytes. The leaves float on the surface of water. What is the speciality? Means the contain leaves contain air sacs, air pockets, air pockets, so that the leaf float on the surface of water. They have air sacs, air packets. Parenchyma is the tissue which helps plants in the water to float. Before discussing this, let's discuss this concept so that you will get to know. Have you heard the name Archimedes? Hmm? Have you heard Archimedes? Archimedes was a philosopher, a scientist, a physicist, etc. He was living in a European country under a king. One fine day, he went to take bath inside a bathtub. He just sat inside the bathtub. The water was flown. The water went outside. Then he thought something hit his mind. He just ran like this, telling that Eureka, Eureka. Eureka means I found out something new. He found out something new. That concept is Archimedes principle, buoyancy. Archimedes principle, buoyancy. Buoyancy means, have you seen the movie Titanic? Titanic, you have seen Titanic. No? After the Titanic ship sank, the heroine Rose, hero Jack, they both fell into the water. A cardboard piece was there. Rose was floating on the cardboard piece. Jack tried to get in, but it started to sink. Right? Later, Jack stayed by holding the cardboard piece, but the temperature of water was very low. He died in the movie. Still, there was so much space, right, for Jack to come. But still, the cardboard, the wooden plank sank. Reason? It will be having some capacity, the weight capacity, right? Buoyancy means, imagine, here we have air, right? Here we have air. If I put this object here, This object displaced the air present in this place earlier. The air is displaced and the water bottle occupied this place. The amount of air present in this place, the size, shape of this water bottle, the amount of air, it will be having some weight, right? Less weight, few milligrams maybe, 0.001 milligram maybe, right? That much amount of upward force will be acted on this water bottle. That much amount of upward push will be acted on this water bottle. But the weight of this water bottle is 100% more than the weight of the air present in the place. That's why it will fall. But balloon filled with helium is lighter than atmospheric air. Helium, the gas, is lighter than atmospheric air. If I fill a balloon with helium and I place it here, what happens? It will float because the space it is occupying was earlier occupied by air, which was having more weight than the helium present in this place right now. So, more amount of upward push, that is buoyancy. Archimedes discovered this buoyancy. If I dive into a pool, I will sink if I don't swim. If I dive into the salt lake, have you heard the salt? Dead Sea, Dead Sea. If I dive into Dead Sea, Dr. Bro into Dead Sea. Dr. Bro, do you see his videos? Do you know Dr. Bro? No. Okay. Social media influencer, travel influencer. Okay, fine. If I fall into Dead Sea, I will float because the density of water, the dissolved salts is very high. The amount of water I displaced will be having more weight than me. The amount of water will be having more weight than me. So I will float. There is a place in Bangalore named Salt. Search on Google. There is a place named Salt. There you can go and feel that experience. You can really float on the water because the density of water will be very high, right? Buoyancy, the concept, the principle explains how ship and submarines work. Ship floats on the surface of water. Why? Not just because of the shape. It is because of buoyancy. The amount of water it is displacing the weight will be more than the weight of the ship. That's why the ship floats easily, right? Buoyancy. If I tie a tube, if a small child tie a water bottle to his back, he can float, right? Because buoyancy. Likewise, based on buoyancy, the parenchyma functions, parenchyma, it will be having air sacs, air pockets, so that the leaf floats on the surface of water. Then collenchyma, collenchyma. During thunderstorm and high windy weather, and there is extreme windy condition, the coconut tree will bend like this, but it will not break, right? Have you ever seen the coconut tree cutting in half? The very rare. If there is any cavity due to some encroachment by any woodpecker, etc., it might fall. Otherwise, it will not fall. It will break at the tip or it will be uprooted, right? The coconut. The flexibility the tree, the plant will get, that is due to collenchyma. You can easily bend the stick to some angle, right? The flexibility will be there, right? That is collenchyma. Collenchyma, the tissue gives flexibility to bend collenchyma. Then we have chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma means Tissue having chlorophyll. Tissue having chlorophyll. Chlorophyll means green coloring pigment. Green coloring pigment which gives green color to the plant. Plants have green color. That's why it is having the ability to do photosynthesis. Plants have the ability to do photosynthesis because it is having chlorophyll. Chlorenchyma helps in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Chlorenchyma, right? Parenchyma, mechanical support and helps to store food. Aerenchyma helps the hydrophytes, the plants present in the water, to float. Aerenchyma. Then collenchyma helps the plants to bend easily, flexibility. Then chlorenchyma helps in photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. Then we have sclerenchyma. These are hard and stiff tissue, majorly present in parts like coconut husk, hard shell around any fruit, seed. Coconut husk you have seen, right? Around the coconut, the husk, right? That is majorly sclerenchyma, coconut husk. These are hard and stiff tissue, sclerenchyma, sclerenchyma. Then we have complex permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue under which we have xylem and phloem. Xylem and phloem. Xylem helps in the transportation of water and minerals. Water and minerals. Xylem is a vascular tissue which helps in the transportation of water and minerals, water and dissolved minerals in one direction. Unidirectional flow will be there. Unidirectional in one direction means plants absorb water and minerals with the help of roots, right? Then the water will be traveled in one direction. Water travels in one direction and reaches the leaves. In the leaves, what happens? Photosynthesis. Leaves are called as food factories of the plant. Food factories of the plant leaves, right? What happens if our body temperature increases? Average human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. How much? 37 degrees Celsius. Generally, we say human body temperature in Fahrenheit scale 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. Okay. What happens if our body temperature increases? There is a mechanism to control our body temperature, that is sweating. We sweat. Upon sweating, what happens? See, just observe, if you pour some water on your face and you don't wipe it off, you will feel some coldness, right? Because the water starts to evaporate by absorbing the body heat. Likewise, when you sweat, the sweat evaporates by absorbing your body heat. This is natural cooling mechanism present in your body. Likewise, plants also have a mechanism to cool. There are small pores present on the surface of the leaves called stomata. Small pores or holes which we cannot see, microscopic pores. From the small pores present on the leaves, the photosynthesis happens, means the carbon dioxide comes inside, the oxygen goes outside. That happens with that hole itself. Then during transpiration, transpiration means transpiration, bhashpa visarjana means transpiration means the water goes out. Water in the form of vapor goes out through these holes to cause cooling effect. Plants also cools down by giving out water content by transpiration. Cooling effect happens here. Unidirectional flow, xylem. Then in phloem, food transportation happens through phloem. Food transportation, where the food is produced in the plant means majorly in the leaves. Leaves are called as food factories. Photosynthesis happens in the leaves majorly. Photosynthesis. Photosynthesis means with the help of sunlight, the food is produced inside the plant by utilizing carbon dioxide, water, sunlight with the help of chlorophyll. Which nutrient is produced? Carbohydrate. Energy giving nutrient, carbohydrate is produced. Plants produce their own food. That's why plants are called as autotrophs. We are dependent on plants, animals, plant-based food, animal-based food. We are heterotrophs. Okay. Plants are autotrophs. They prepare their own food. Fine. Here what happens? In the leaves, the food is produced. The food should travel to the roots. The food should also travel to the apex, fruit, seed, flowers, etc. Right? In the phloem, the food will travel in both the direction. Bidirectional flow. Bidirectional flow is seen. In one of the examinations, they have asked a question about xylem. They have given many statements. Consider the following statements regarding xylem and choose the correct statements among them they have asked. Xylem is a vascular tissue. Xylem is a vascular tissue which helps in transportation they have given. Is it right? Vascular tissue helps in transportation. Yes. Right. Correct. Vascular tissue means pipe-like tissue which helps in transportation. Then they have given xylem helps in the transportation of water only. Xylem helps in the transportation of water and minerals. Which one is correct? Water and minerals. The dissolved minerals with water travels through xylem, right? Water and minerals. Both A and C statements were correct. Likewise, they will give many statements you need to choose among them. Earlier, many years ago, the questions were direct. They used to ask direct questions with one answer. Right now, in these days, they will give 3 to 4 statements. Among those statements, you need to choose A, B, C, which one is correct, right? That trend was there 2 3 years ago, but from before last year, the trend has changed. Now, what they will do, they will give 4 statements. Then they will give the options like only 3 statements are correct, only 2 statements are correct, only one statement is correct. Earlier, when they were giving A and B are correct, B and C are correct, if we are very sure about B, we can at least choose, right? Or B and C might be correct because B is correct. We had that option, but right now we don't have that luxury because the options will be like only 2 statements are correct, only 3 statements are correct. So that to answer these kind of questions, you should be having very deep knowledge, understanding about the concept. Okay. Then let's discuss about animal tissues. Animal tissues. Animal tissues are classified into 4 types. Animal tissue means human tissues. The tissues present in us. Okay. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue. Then we have nervous tissue. Then we have muscular tissue, muscular tissue or muscle tissue, muscular tissue. Then we have connective tissue. The most abundant, major, important tissue is connective tissue. Connective tissue. There is some classification under which epithelial tissue we have simple epithelial tissue, compound epithelial tissue. Under simple epithelium we have squamous epithelium. Squamous epithelium, stratified squamous epithelium, columnar epithelium, ciliated columnar epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, then glandular epithelium, glandular epithelium. Then compound epithelial tissue does not have any subclassification. Nervous tissue no subclassification. Muscular tissue, cardiac muscle tissue, skeletal muscle tissue, smooth muscle tissue. Cardiac muscle tissue, skeletal muscle tissue, smooth muscle tissue. Then under connective tissue we have under connective tissue loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, special connective tissue, loose, dense, special connective tissues. We'll cover these things here itself. Epithelium means protective, covering tissues cells. Protective, covering tissue. Epithelial tissue means epithelial tissue. Simple epithelium, under simple epithelium we have squamous epithelium, which will be seen in the absorption parts of our body. Absorption means in our lungs, the end of the windpipe, bronchioles, we have air sac-like structure called alveoli. When we inhale the air, it travels through windpipe, trachea, bronchioles. Then at the end, there is bulb-like structures, small bulb-like structures called alveoli. Above the bulb-like structures, there will be blood vessels. The air which we inhale will be transferred to the blood. Blood carries oxygen throughout our body to each and every cell. Blood carries oxygen. Oxygen carrying part of our blood is hemoglobin, right? The oxygen transfer happens, right, in the alveoli. There squamous epithelium is seen in that absorption part. In our small intestine, the nutrients are absorbed where epithelial tissue is seen. In the absorption parts, then stratified squamous epithelium. Strata means layer. Squamous epithelial tissue, single layer of cell. Stratified squamous, many layer of cells will be there, many layer of flat cells, squamous epithelium. Stratified squamous epithelium can be seen in the skin or inner layer of the skin. stratified squamous epithelium. Then columnar epithelium in the intestine, blood vessels, etc. Ciliated columnar epithelium. Cilia means small hair-like projections. Cilia. Ciliated columnar epithelium is majorly seen in our nasal tract, nasal tract, nasal cavity. Then our intestine. In our nasal cavity and intestine, ciliated. Then cuboidal epithelium, cube-shaped cells. Cube-shaped cells will be there. Cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelial cells will be seen in nephron of our kidney, liver, etc. Majorly nephron. Ducts, in the ducts, in nephron, etc. Then glandular epithelium is important. We'll discuss this later. This is important. Okay. Nervous tissue. Our central nervous system consists of our brain, our spinal cord, the nerve cell. Right? Brain, spinal cord, the nerve cell. If you touch here, you will feel your backbone, right? Backbone, bone. Spinal cord means spinal cord, backbone. Have you seen the picture of brain with spinal cord? I think Saram Vishweshwaraya's brain with his spinal cord is preserved. I think so. Many persons' brain with spinal cord is preserved. Have you seen the movie Gadipata? Anantnag had spinal cord injury. Later, when he met with one more accident, it got corrected, right? Spinal cord means we are vertebrata. We come under vertebrata means we have backbone consists of many vertebrae. How many vertebrae do we have? 33 vertebrae. Each and every one of us. 33 vertebrae we have. Inside the vertebral column, spinal cord is there. Spinal cord. Spinal cord is a thread-like, wire-like structure. Nerve, thread-like structure, spinal cord. If you use this cable regularly, it might not give signal properly, right? The inside wire might break. Likewise, if the spinal cord breaks, it will not give signal properly. Lower body, not functional. Maybe spinal cord failure. Body not functional. Maybe spinal cord failure, right? If a person is met with any accident, spinal cord will be present here, spinal cord. Then it will be connected to various nerve cells. Neuron, we say, nerve cell. Each and every cell of human body will be in microscale, but nerve cell, few nerve cells are a meter length. 1 meter, few nerve cells. What does nerve cell do? For a stimuli, it helps to give response. If someone touches you, you will get to know, right? If the temperature is more or less, you will get to know, right? Each and every sensation, the stimulation will be with the help of nerve cells, neuron, right? The brain, spinal cord, the nerve cell, these consist to make nervous tissue. All these consist to make nervous tissue. Brain, spinal cord, and nerve cell. Then cardiac muscle, present only in our heart. Is this voluntary muscle or involuntary muscle? Cardiac muscle. Voluntary means which we can control. Involuntary means which we cannot control. Cardiac muscle, can we control or not? Hey heart, please stop for a second. Will it listen to us? Heart, please beat so faster. Will it listen to us? No. Heart, it is involuntary muscle. Involuntary muscle. Involuntary. Skeletal muscle tissue. We have skeletal system, above which we have muscles. Muscles help us to move. The skeletal muscle, voluntary or involuntary? Voluntary, which we can control. I can control my movement, right? Voluntary muscle, voluntary muscle. Then smooth muscle tissue, smooth muscle tissue, blood vessels, intestine, etc. Can we control the flow of blood? Can we control the movement of food inside our intestine? We can only control swallowing us. Later we cannot control. So smooth muscle tissue is also involuntary muscle. Involuntary muscle, smooth muscle tissue, smooth muscle tissue. Only skeletal muscle tissue is voluntary muscle. Skeletal muscle tissue, voluntary muscle. Then connective tissue. Connective tissue. Under connective tissue, we have loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, special connective tissue. Under loose connective tissue, we have adipose tissue. Adipose tissue. In KS examination, KPSC, KS preliminary examination, not the last examination, 2 times before that probably, they have asked a question. The question is, camel's hump contain, camel's hump contain, camel's hump. What does camel hump have? Options: water, fat, food. Have you seen the hump of the camel? Camel's hump. What will it be having? In our school days, we might have heard the story, camel's hump will be having liters of water. The Arab sheikhs, when they are thirsty, while walking through the desert, they will kill the camel and drink the water. You might have heard this story. And you might have heard camel can survive without water for many months. If required, it will directly take water from that hump. Actually, that is not exactly true. See, in your school days, when you are in first, second, third, fourth standard, the science teacher might have told you, sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Sun rises in the east and sets in the west. Is it true? Later, when we come to sixth, seventh standard, the same teacher tells, no, sun never rises, never sets. The earth rotates, right? Sun is stationary here. The earth is rotating. When the earth rotates, we feel like the sun is rising and setting. That's true, right? Earth is rotating from west to east. That's why we feel like sun is rising from the east and setting in the west. When you are small, they have explained you the concept in the simpler form. When you are grown up, they have explained the actual fact. Likewise, camel's hump does not contain water in its true form. It will be having fat. Camel's hump contain what? Fat. Not the fat which we are having, a special fat. The camel's hump contain fat. The fat is oxidized to produce water. By the oxidation of fat, water is produced. By burning fat, camel produces water for its own requirement. Actually, camel can survive without drinking water for 6 to 8 months. 6 to 8 months it can survive. By burning fat, it produces water. In KPSC preliminary examination, They have asked which tissue is present in the hump of a camel. They have not asked whether water is present or fat is present. They have asked which tissue is present. We need to know two concepts. First, camel's hump contain fat, not water. By oxidation of fat, water is produced. This thing which we need to know. Later, we need to know where the fat is stored. In which tissue the fat is stored? The fat is stored in adipose tissue. Fat storage tissue. In our body also, fat is stored in adipose tissue. Adipose tissue, the fat around our belly, etc. That is adipose tissue. Adipose tissue acts as an insulating layer also. When we are fat, then what happens? We feel more sweaty, body temperature rises because insulation layer acts as an insulation layer. Fat is stored in adipose tissue, loose connective tissue, adipose tissue. That's it. Loose connective tissue is adipose tissue. Then one more thing, the most abundant protein in our body, most abundant protein present in our body is collagen. Collagen, most abundant protein in our body. There are so many proteins. Collagen is one among them. The abundant protein present in our body is collagen. In each and every connective tissue, adipose tissue, tendon, ligament, bone, cartilage, collagen is present except blood. Blood is also a connective tissue, but blood does not have collagen. That is the thing which we need to know. If they ask a question about connective tissue, very important issue, okay, then we should know blood does not have collagen. Blood does not have collagen. We need to know. That's it. Dense connective tissue. Dense connective tissue. We have tendon and ligaments. Tendons and ligaments. Do you watch cricket or any sports? Cricket. You might have heard many a times when the bowler slips, his ankle twists while bowling. The umpire tells, it seems like a major injury. He might have had a ligament tear. Have you heard ligament tear? The term ligament. Do you know ligament? We'll see. Tendon means tissue connecting muscle to bone. Tendon, the tissue connecting muscle to bone. Are you guys vegetarians or non-vegetarians? Non-vegetarian. Vegetarian. Non-vegetarian. You have seen the leg piece. To the leg piece, the fleshy part, muscle is attached at a single point, right? That part where the muscle is attached, that is tendon. Skeletal muscle, the part where the muscle is attached to the bone, this is called as tendon, muscle to bone. Then ligament means you might have had this soft tendery part of the bone which you can eat, chew, whitish part of the bone. Ligament connects bone to bone. One bone is connected to other bone with a soft whitish tissue called as ligament. Bone to bone ligament. So in one examination they have asked a person met with an accident, two bones of his legs are dislocated. A person met with an accident, two bones of his legs are dislocated, right? What might have happened? Tendon break, ligament break, bone break, they have given. What will you say? Bone break means cutting of the bone. That is not dislocation. Dislocation means ligament tear, ligament tear. Ligament connect one bone to the other. Ligament, the soft tissue, soft compared to bone, right? Ligament. Ligament connects bone to bone. Ligament. Tendon connects muscle to bone. Okay. Special connective tissue. Special connective tissue. Very special. Under special connective tissue, we have blood, bone, cartilage. Then areolar connective tissue is also there. Areolar. Blood. Blood is made by the composition of many different types of cells, many different type of nutrients. Blood is made up of red blood cell, white blood cell, platelets, and plasma is also there. Blood is the fluid connective tissue or special connective tissue. Fluid or special connective tissue. Blood helps in the major function of blood is, what is the use of blood in our body? Sir, for us to live, blood should be there. The function, it helps in the transportation of gases, oxygen transportation, carbon dioxide transportation. It helps in the transportation of nutrients, food absorbed, food transportation. It helps in the transportation of waste transportation. Major function of blood is transportation, major function. Later, it protects us from the diseases, WBC, right? Then it helps in clotting, platelets, we'll discuss. Bone, bone is made up of calcium and phosphorus. The symbol of calcium, Ca, symbol of phosphorus, phosphorus, symbol, chemical symbols. Symbol of iron, symbol of gold, symbol of carbon, gold. Ag silver, Au gold, Aurum, Au gold. Good. Carbon, C. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, CO2. Phosphorus, P. Potassium, K. Phosphorus, P. Right. The bone and the teeth are majorly made up of calcium and phosphorus in the form of tricalcium phosphate. The chemical present in our bone, in our teeth is this thing, tricalcium phosphate. Majorly consists of calcium and phosphorus. Calcium and phosphorus. Bone is special connective tissue. Then cartilage means cartilage. Where in our body you can see cartilage? Soft bone present in our ears, nose, throat, soft bone, that is cartilage. Softer than normal bone. We can say soft bone, cartilage. Ear pinna, nose, throat, etc. We can see cartilage. Areolar connective tissue helps in repair, repairing the damaged tissue. Areolar connective tissue helps in repairing the damaged tissue. Areolar connective tissue. Anyhow, we are discussing about calcium and phosphorus. Let's cover these two things here itself. Sodium, phosphorus, Do you know Drone Pratap? Drone. Recently, he thought he is a big scientist. He made an experiment with sodium. Recently, he went to jail. Do you know? Few months back, what he did, he went to a agricultural pond. He bought some 500 grams of sodium inside a plastic container. Then he made some holes, opened the plastic bag, and uh, and he threw the sodium into the agricultural pond, water pond. It created a medium-sized explosion. Explosion happened. So he was arrested for that reason, for creating that explosion and for behaving in that manner, etc. Actually, have you read the book Wings of Fire by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam? Wings of Fire, Abdul Kalam, Abdul Kalam's life story. In his book, he have shared an incident where he, along with his friend, went to see experimental operators. Experimental operators. Then they both bent to see the operators. Sweat from him fell into the operators. It created explosion because the apparatus contained sodium, purest form of sodium. When sodium is mixed with water, water vapor content, it explodes. Sodium in our toothpaste, you might be having sodium, active salt. In our salt, we will be having sodium, right? But that will be in compound form. Compound sodium mixed with chlorine, sodium chloride, table salt. But if it is in the purest form, only sodium, then what happens? Sodium is highly reactive with sodium is highly reactive with water and water vapor also. Around us in the air, moisture content is there, right? The air around us contains moisture content, right? Less amount, but it is still having moisture content. That is called as humidity. Humidity is less here, it is more in the coastal region. Humidity, the moisture content. If the sodium is exposed directly to the air around us, then also it explodes. Then also the reaction takes place. It starts to burn, explode violently, right? Sodium highly reactive with water and water vapor. That's why majorly it is stored in kerosene, sodium. Likewise, phosphorus highly reactive, highly reactive with oxygen. Have you heard about a fiery ghost? ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದವ ಕೇಳಿದಿರಾ? ಕೊಳ್ಳಿದವ ಅಂತ. What happens in earlier days? The graveyard, village graveyard, will be few meters, kilometers away the village, around the village, right? During the night, there was no current, mobile phone, TV back then. Each and every person will be sitting outside their home, chit-chatting, right? During that time, one fine night, suddenly fire broke out in that graveyard. Suddenly fire broke out. What these people will think? Oh, it might be ghost. What might be the reason? The reason might be this. Might be this. What? Bones are made up of calcium and phosphorus, right? In the form of tricalcium phosphate compound. Due to environmental factors, due to environmental factors. If the calcium and phosphorus are separated, if they are separated, then what happens? The phosphorus in the presence of oxygen starts to burn. Oxygen, in the presence of oxygen, phosphorus starts to burn. What we will think? Ghost. The reason? Phosphorus burning in the presence of oxygen. Not each and every bone burns in the presence of oxygen, because the phosphorus in it is in compound form, right? If it comes in purest form, then only it will burn. Okay. Phosphorus, so it is stored in water, stored in water, highly reactive with oxygen, stored in water. Phosphorus. Okay. Then, before discussing blood, let's start with, okay, we have left, I think, glandular epithelium we have left. Important, I told. Under epithelial tissue, we have glandular epithelium. Gland. Gland means, any one example for gland? Sweat gland, mucus gland, oil secreting gland, mammary gland, liver, right? Lacrimal gland, tears, lacrimal gland. There are so many glands in our body. Glands are classified into two types: exocrine gland and endocrine gland. Exocrine and endocrine gland. Endocrine gland. Exocrine gland means the glands will be having ducts. The glands will be having ducts. Duct means pipe. Duct means pipe. Pipe like structure. Not exactly pipe, pipe like structure. Ducts. If they have ducts, then ducts are present. Exocrine gland. Example for exocrine glands are salivary gland, mucus gland, mammary gland, lacrimal gland. Then very important, largest gland of human body, liver. Biggest gland of human body, liver. Liver secretes. Liver. What is the function of our liver? Sir, if a person drinks more amount of alcohol, the liver will be gone. Function of liver. In recent days, due to lifestyle changes, food habit changes, fatty liver condition is becoming a new issue. Fatty liver. The main function of liver is it filters blood once. It filters blood, and it stores food in the form of glycogen. The glucose converted into glycogen, it stores food. Then it helps in digestion of food by secreting bile juice. Liver secretes bile juice. Bile juice. Bile juice helps in the digestion of food. Bile juice. The two exactly fat digestion. Bile juice helps in fat digestion. Fat digestion. Okay. Largest gland, liver. Once the nutrients are absorbed from our small intestine, nutrients are absorbed into our blood vessel. The blood goes through liver and it gets filtered once. If a person drinks alcohol, the alcohol goes into his stomach, digestive tract first thing. Later, what happens? Our digestive tract thinks, it might be a new nutrient, let's absorb it. So the small intestine absorbs the alcohol content. It is transferred into the blood. That's why if you take blood sample and test, alcohol content can be seen. If a person is drunk, within 24 hours, if you do the test, alcohol content can be seen. Okay. The harmful nutrient, chemical, or alcohol content present in that alcohol filtered in the liver. That's why if a person drinks regularly, if a person is a regular drinker, what happens? The filtration regularly happens and the liver will be damaged easily. Can liver transplantation be done? Is it possible? Liver transplantation. See, we have two kidneys. We can donate one kidney and we can survive in one kidney. The receiver also can survive in one kidney. That is okay. But we have how many liver? One liver. Can we donate the liver? Actually, yes. Recently, a year back, I think, a teacher from Mangalore, with goodwill, he donated her liver to some ex-person, not their family, ex-person she donated with a goodwill, thinking that let me save a life, she thought. But what happened? Infection. With infection, liver infection, she died. During the time of operation, she couldn't recover properly, she died. Liver is such a great, such a beautiful organ, it can regenerate. If you cut some part of your muscle, it will regrow, right? Skin, regrow, right? If you cut your bone, it will regrow, right? Bone. If the bone is broken, the bone is broken here, then what a doctor will do? He will make a surgery, install a plate, a screw. After many months, few months, after a year or so, they will remove the screw, etc. Right? Why? Because the bone is grown back to its original position. Bone can regenerate, skin can regenerate, likewise, liver can regenerate. If you keep 25 percentage of the kidney and cut remaining part, only 25 percentage remaining is cut it off, then also it can regrow. Our liver have that ability. Greatest organ. Just imagine that superb organ is damaged means how much extra stress we are giving to the liver. It is having the ability to regenerate, right? If you give some time, if you give some proper food diet, it can regrow, regenerate, revive, right? Liver transplantation can be done. You can donate. Actually, 2 3 years back, due to non-alcoholic fatty liver, by not consuming alcohol also a person got fatty liver, his liver got damaged, he needed transplantation very earlier. His daughter donated part of her liver to her father, both survived. That is possible, liver transplantation. Okay. Endocrine, exocrine glands, but best example is liver. Then we have endocrine glands, ductless glands, means they don't have ಯಾವ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ನೀರು ಕುಡಿ ಬೇಕು ಆಗಿದೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ thyroxine secreted by thyroid gland. Main function is controls the rate of calorie burnt. Controls the rate of calorie burnt. Means, what did you have for breakfast? You didn't have breakfast. You should have breakfast. Okay. Thank you. For example, you have intake 100 calories from the breakfast which you ate, right? From the morning, you are just sitting, doing nothing, doing some basic activities. Okay. For these activities, the required amount of calories are 50, let's say, for example. Then 50 calories should be burned, 50 should be stored, right? Right. If you had more amount of breakfast, 100 calories, then little bit only utilized, remaining stored. The rate of burning calorie is controlled by thyroxine. If thyroxine is being secreted in a correct manner, proper percentage, then only 50 calories of energy is burnt. If the thyroxine hormone is secreted more means, if secreted more means 100 calories are also burnt. You are doing nothing, still calories are burnt. If thyroxine is secreted less means you are doing many work, but still the calories are not burnt. It will be stored in your body. That is the issue, right? One thing, if it is not secreted properly, more calories are burnt or no calories are burnt, less calories are burnt. That is the issue. Thyroxine. Then there is a condition called a simple goiter. Have you heard? Goiter. Goiter. See, does your table salt contain iodine? The salt which you use at your home, does it contain iodine? When you go home, if there is a packet of salt present, just have a look. It will be written as iodized salt. Which iodized salt? Iodized salt means the salt which is produced from the sea water, it will not contain iodine. Iodine is a mineral. Okay. Iodine helps in the functioning of thyroid gland. Thyroid gland functioning, it helps. Iodine. Gandhiji did salt march, Dandi march. Why? He didn't wanted to pay tax on salt, right? That salt didn't contain iodine. The salt produced directly from the sea does not contain iodine. Iodine is additionally added to the salt. Why additionally added to the salt? Because iodine is required to maintain the functioning of our thyroid gland. If iodine deficiency is there, actually iodine is majorly available in seafood. But we people who are living away from sea in the plain land or persons living in the mountains, they might not be getting a proper amount of iodine, right? If a person lacks iodine, then what happens? In the children, mental disability might occur. Mental disability, buddhi, mental disability, and improper functioning of thyroid might occur. That's why the government decided mental disability is a big issue that should not happen. Let's do a thing. Let's add iodine into salt. They have planned. So we have iodized salt. Salt is added with iodine. Salt is added with iodine in the form of potassium iodate. Potassium iodate. Salt is added with iodine in the form of potassium iodate. Potassium iodate. The iodine present in our salt is in the form of potassium iodate, which helps in the functioning of our thyroid gland. If we lack iodine, then simple goiter will come. What does simple goiter mean? Our thyroid gland will be inflamed. Thyroid gland inflamed. Inflammation happens. It will not function properly. That is the issue. Then let's move on to parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland present inside our thyroid gland, bead-like structure. Parathyroid gland called as gland in gland. Gland in gland. It is present inside the thyroid gland, right? That's why it helps to maintain calcium level. Its only function is to maintain calcium level in human body. Calcium level it maintains. Parathyroid gland. Okay, take a break. 5 minutes later we'll continue with thymus and other glands.